Good day, Android Studio coders. Welcome to the Android Studio channel here at YouTube. And our topic for today is about event listeners. This is a continuation of the tutorial that I have uploaded about 2 days ago, which is a basic tutorial on ListView. So here in the image we have a list of countries, and if you are implementing this in your application, you may want to be able to click on these countries or select these countries. So we need event listeners to be able to respond to such events in your application. There are many event listeners, but I would just be discussing the two major listeners. One is OnItemClickListener versus OnItemSelectedListener. Actually, the first time I have done this or made a hands-on of this topic for me to be able to teach this, I have difficulty determining what is the proper click listener to use or what is the proper event listener to use. So to proceed, let's define OnItemClickListener. So OnItemClickListener is invoked when an item in this adapter view or your view has been clicked. So when you click any of the countries here in this, for example, this is your application. For example, you click Brazil in this case, then OnItemClickListener would be invoked because it has been clicked. And the next is OnItemSelectedListener. So this is invoked when an item in this view has been selected, or for example, an item Brazil has been selected. You may be thinking, what is the difference? Actually, the difference is that I have not known how the OnItemSelectedListener would be triggered in an actual phone. But when I load my emulator, I am able to trigger OnItemSelectedListener by pressing on the up and down arrow keys in my laptop or in my PC, and then I would be able to trigger the OnItemClickListener when I click on any of the item in the list view through my mouse. So I have really not tried that on the by using my actual phone as an emulator, and I have just tested that in my emulator inside my Android Studio IDE. But nevertheless, I would be teaching to you both OnItemClickListener and OnItemSelectedListener, and it's up to you how do you handle that in your own code. So to proceed, so let's proceed with the Android Studio IDE. We are done with this presentation, and I have already here my Android Studio IDE opened, and this is the code that I have shown you before in my ListView tutorial regarding the basic concepts of a ListView. And if we load this code, it would show this list of countries, and however, if you click on it, nothing happens. It just shows the item click because we already have that in our XML, the list selector. And if I use the up and down key in my computer, so it responds like that without me moving the mouse, but no, nothing happens except the list selector shows a different color for the item selected or the item click, in this case with my mouse. if you see my mouse moving with the list selector, then it's the one that should be triggered is the item click listener, on item click listener. But if you see my mouse not moving, that means I'm using my arrow keys here, so it should be triggering the on item selected listener, but we don't have a code for that yet. So let's proceed. First, let's put a code for the on item click listener. So it's called by your list view object, which is named list view. So since it's already here, it's already created, and let's use it. So list view dot set, instead of this one on item selected listener, let's use on item click listener. You don't use this one, set on click listener, because I have tested it. It doesn't work with the list view object. So you either use set on item selected listener or set on item click listener. But for now, let's use this on item click listener. So double click it, and in order to have the IDE auto generate every part of the code, you type in this, inside this parenthesis, new on item. So it's here on item click listener. It's already shown for you by the IDE, so just click it. Okay, and every part of the code is auto-generated. You don't have to memorize everything, but the important thing is for you to understand that there are parameters inside this which are important, this in position and long ID. So position and ID are the name of your variables that you can use as a parameter in your code. Actually, you can use any of this. These are both numbers, int and long, but I usually use position. And when I first tested this code, I have been having difficulty what to do, but actually it's very easy to determine what item has been clicked. So in this case, you should just make a toast message. For you to be able to test something, you usually use a toast message. Since we don't have any use yet for this specific application, I will just show you how you can get the particular item that was clicked, either show it in the toast as a number or as a text. But for you maybe want to be able to show the name of the country that was clicked. So it's very easy. Just use a toast message here, toast that make text, and instead of using this, I suggest, since you are deep inside your code, inside a click listener, just use get application context in this case, and then comma, and then since you already have, since a toast message only accepts a string, usually can convert this int into a string. So you can use string that value of your int variable, which is position, and then comma, and then just use a short toast message here, toast short, length short, and then that show. And so that's very easy. So we can test this one. Something's my Mac is always reminding me that my disk is almost full, and even if I close it, it keeps on appearing. So just ignore that. Okay, so here it is. If I click Germany, and then since Germany is of the index 3, so the first is India, so India is index 0, Philippines 1, United States of America 2, and Germany is 3. So if you are familiar with indexes, so if I click any of this, a message of what index are they is shown. Since we just converted the int, the position variable, which is an int, into a string value, it is now shown. But if you don't convert that into a string value, you would generate an error. Okay, like there's no error in your code shown, but if you, I think if we run this, let's test. I'm not sure if that would function. Oh, you generate an error, your app closes. So you should always convert something that is not text in your toast into a text. So as we have shown before, it should be like this. So let's just always put the string that value up, but it's not our maybe it's not what you want. You want to show the name of the country, so it's very easy. Since the string is an array, just use the string object here, or the string variable here, my country list. The IDE already detects that you have this my country list here. Just enter that, and since it's an array, you use a square bracket there, and just pass the int variable here. Okay, the int variable is position, so you can pass that. And if you run this one, so let's explain the let's understand this first. You are just saying that I want to show a particular item in the string array of this index. So India is index 0, Philippines is index 1. So if we run this app, the application knows what index in the string array to show. So if you click India, so that would be index 0. Since our code would pass the index 0 to my country list, it knows that we're referring to India. So if you click that, there's India there. If you click Philippines, index 1 is passed, so the toast knows what is the index, so it shows the Philippines there. Okay, and so forth. Okay, but this is not triggered if you don't use click. For example, if you use arrow and up keys, the one that would be triggered is OnItemSelectedListener, and nothing happens because we have not put any code regarding OnItemSelectedListener. So let's do that. Let's create a code for OnItemClickListener SelectedListener. So ListView that set OnItemSelectedListener. So that's it. Okay, and then new OnItemSelectedListener. Okay, so there are two public methods exposed here: the public void OnItemSelected and public void on nothing selected. At first, when you load your app, of course nothing is selected yet, so we can test this one. We can pass a toast, get application context, and just put any text here. So let's put none selected, and then short toast message. Okay, so if we run this app, at first when the app is loaded, nothing is selected, so the message none selected should be shown. Okay, let's run it again. I think it's not triggered since by default something is already selected. So let's click outside of the items in the list. Here, let's click on the action bar, and nothing selected would be triggered because by default something is selected. Click on it and none selected because none is selected here. And if we click again, on item selected is triggered. So that's our earlier code. And I click on the action bar, nothing is selected again. Nothing selected would be triggered. Okay. Oh, it's not being triggered anymore. Okay. You have to first trigger the set. It's not triggered anymore after I click because something was clicked. So we have to trigger first the set on item selected so that one of its methods would be activated. So let's first click the up and down key in our laptop or computer. So now I have triggered the set on item selected listener. If I click outside, then the nothing selected is triggered. Okay, although we still have this item made green by the list selector. So that's the intricacy of it. So I'm just showing you that on nothing selected is triggered by doing something in your application. So actually we don't really need this. Let's just comment it out. But on the on item selected method, this public void method, let's pass a toast. So get application context, and we can use the same code. So let's pass position and short. So this would be triggered if we navigate through our application by using our up and down arrow keys in our computer. Okay, so let's do this now. So if I click, what would be triggered is, so you can see the code. What would be triggered is the set on item click listener there, but if I use the arrow keys, it's also triggered like that. However, to show the difference, so we can show the difference between what's triggered on the set on item selected listener. Instead of using the name of the countries, let's use the index. So let's use the index of that. So string that value of position. Okay, let's remove this one. Okay, on the set on item selected listener, what should be shown is the number, while the click listener, what should be shown is the click. So in order to just differentiate this a little bit, is let's use a plus here, was click. Okay, then so we can really see the difference, was selected. Okay, okay, so we can use also the country names here. So it's better to have it as the country names. Okay, my country list, and I can't remove this one. Okay, I'll just remove this entire thing first. The code is auto-generating this text here. Okay, it's okay if it's there. I haven't seen that it's really being shown by Android Studio. So let's put my country list here, and the same thing, position plus the word was selected. Okay, so we can now differentiate it. Okay, let's run the code, or let's run our emulator. Okay, this is our emulator. So it shows in India was selected. Okay, what would, if I click the Philippines, what would show? Just analyze it. You can pause the video. What would show if I click the Philippines? Is it was selected or was clicked? Okay, do you have the answer now? Do you have analyze it? Okay, let's do it now. Okay, Philippines was clicked. Was clicked because by using our mouse or your finger in your actual phone, what would be triggered was clicked. But if I use the arrow and up key, so let's navigate. Let's navigate. It would not yet go to the United States of America if I navigate with my arrow key down, because it would still be at the Philippines since it was not yet selected because it was clicked before. So what would be shown is Philippines was selected, and next United States was selected. So let's put a distance here. Okay, let's run that again. Okay, so if I click China, China was selected, and arrow up, China was selected, arrow up, Costa Rica was selected, Singapore was selected, Indonesia was clicked, arrow up, Indonesia was selected, arrow down, Peru was selected. Okay, so you can now just since you know how to put a code on those event listeners, you can now find ways how to implement that in your application depending on your need. Actually, you have lots of need for this. You can use this to navigate to another activity or just to show some functionality that, like, if I click Bahrain, an information would be shown about Bahrain. Example, a pop-up dialog box would be showing information about Bahrain, statistics, population, etc. So you can use this, a country application that would show information about country, but how would you trigger that information to be shown? You could use a click, or you could use a selected listener. Okay, a click listener or a selected item listener, or item selected listener, or item click listener. So that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot, and the way I teach this video is that really before I actually make these video tutorials, I test out the items myself, and I analyze what would be the possible mistakes, if possible, what is the most efficient way of teaching this to you. So I hope you get a lot of value from this tutorial, because by getting value, that makes me happy that I am able to help, because really serving other programmers like you is really satisfying, because that's what's life is all about, really serving other people. So thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you again when I upload another video, maybe regarding more advanced topic about ListView tutorials, or other topics that are requested by my subscribers, my other subscribers. And please subscribe and invite your friends, especially programmers in Android programming, to subscribe to this channel. So thank you again, and bye bye.